Hey over there, Joe Lunchbox.
And Joy Nightingale.
And today we have landed right here in New Haven, Connecticut. Now, with the name Joe Lunchbox, you could probably guess I like to eat. Now, we're actually going to be on a little food pilgrimage today. The reason we're here in New Haven, Connecticut is because in the year of 1900, a man named Lawson invented the hamburger right here in New Haven, Connecticut. And now, 122 years later, Louis Lunch is still here, still serving those hamburgers, cooked actually on the grills that original ones were cooked on. And I figured,
might as well.
I gotta check it out. Because when you think of stuff like a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Burger King. Those things exist today because this hamburger was made. Now we're going to walk around New Haven for a few minutes, show a little bit of the history of this restaurant and the man. And then we're going to actually go check out this restaurant and get one of these hamburgers. And I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to bring you all along. So step right up. Let's go for this ride. So, Louis Lawson was an immigrant. He moved here in 1895. He decided he'll open up a cart that will sell steak sandwiches.
Okay.
Now, when he first started, he was moving the cart between two locations. One on Temple and one on George Street. Now, he was going between two factories, serving the factory workers his food out of this cart. We actually show you a photo of the cart now. So here we have the photo of Louis Lawson sitting in his cart making those steak sandwiches. He used to take all the scrap from the steak sandwiches, grind it down. That's where we got chopped meat. That's what the hamburger came from. But we'll tell you that story once we get to the restaurant. But that's him in that cart. Now, by 1907, Louis decided the spot on George Street was next to a tannery, and that was the better location. So that he made like a permanent location for his cart. And in fact, in 1917, he bought that old tannery and turned it into the restaurant, which is Louis Lunch. Now, with that location though, in 1970s, this area of New Haven was being redeveloped, and they decided that it was going to be torn down, and some locals and the family who still own the business, they still own it today, decided they have to move it. So we're standing right now where we think the original tannery that was where Louis Lunch first was used to sit. You can see the old building, you see where the new building butts up against it. That's the best we could see, judging from the looks of that building, what the address was, and also this building right behind us. So right now, we can see where that tannery was. That was the original Louis Lunch. I mean, it still is the building to today. And if you see across the street, the other building we were just showing you, you see the little white parts above the window? That matches up with the building that we're standing right in front of. So that's why we think where those two buildings meet is where Louis Lunch used to stand. And here's the photo where in mid-1970s, when they were redeveloping, instead of just tearing down the building and building a new restaurant, they actually saved the original building and moved it about 4 blocks over to the location on Crown where it sits today. And this is a photo of them actually loading the restaurant on that truck. You see the white pieces of masonry above the window? That's the sign that shows that was where that tannery was, where in 1917, Louis Lunch opened its official restaurant. And right over here in the 1970s, mid-1970s, when they were redeveloping, right here is where they loaded it on that truck and moved it a few blocks down to where it stands right now on Crown. Here it stands, Louis Lunch, established 1895. And you can see this is the building that used to stand on George Street, the old tannery that he took over in 1917. And there's a little bit of line already here. We're waiting to go in and try one of these hamburgers. Now, here's the story of how the original hamburger was made. You see, in 1900, like I was saying, Louis used to he was selling steak sandwiches. scrap meat would be blended. They used 5 different cuts. Well, now they use 5 different blends of cuts. And a guy came in really quick in a rush. And Louis just took some meat, threw it on the grill, threw it in between 2 pieces of toasted bread, and handed it to the guy because he had to go. And that, they say, was the first hamburger. Other spots do claim there's a spot in Hamburg, New York, a spot in Wisconsin, a spot in Athens, Texas, that claim that they made the hamburger first. Now, the difference, why this is what we are saying the #1 spot. 1, the Library of Congress declares that this is the birthplace of the hamburger. 2, it's standing behind us. The building is there. I mean, he was selling the cart in 1900s, but it still exists. Louis' Lunch still exists. Now you see those other spots that claim it, they're all gone. There's no real records. Just the city saying, well, we did it first, but there's no building, there's no restaurant, there's no spot I could go get a hamburger. This is it, the birthplace of the hamburger. And I have to say, I love hamburgers. And there's hearsay of how a hamburger got its name. It actually says that there was workers in those factories from Hamburg, and it was sort of named after them, or they sort of named it after where they were from. I can't figure out the truth of where the hamburger got its name, but that's the closest we could find for that. You can see I'm a real hamburger lover. I even got a hamburger tattooed on my leg, but we're not going to take any look at that mustard, because no mustard allowed here. And that cute little hamburger tattooed on my leg was actually done by a good friend of us, a tattoo artist named Maggie. She works out of Staten Island, a spot called Milk and Honey. We'll leave some contact information. You should check out our work. That's a little small tattoo, but what she does is awesome. And I would always send people to Maggie to get tattoos. Really cool person, too. Here it is. And that old toast is from the 30s. But if you see, these cast iron stand-up broilers are actually from 1898. We're still getting the meat cooked in the same ovens from that time. And don't ask for any ketchup or mustard, no condiments. The meat speaks for itself here, just like it did in 1900. This is not Burger King. You do not get it your way. And I'm glad it's not. And I like when restaurants keep things local. We'll be washing down these hamburgers with Fox and Park white birch. Supposedly tastes like wintergreen and birch. And this is actually a local company right from East Haven, Connecticut. You got like 100. They actually have the sign from when it was on George Street. George Street.
So, obviously you know about the hamburgers, but the other thing to try is the potato salad.
That's what we've been told, and that's what we're about to do.
I'll eat this cinder block, don't worry.
It's so creamy with like the little chunks of the potatoes. It's really got some good seasoning to it, and the flavors. I just can't put my nose on what some of them are.
Alright, the first thing I like is the potatoes. They're really creamy, almost like mashed potatoes, but there are chunks of potatoes. You can take, it's like parsley, it's creamy. I can't figure it out. It's like, it doesn't taste like mayonnaise, even though I'm sure mayonnaise is in it. But it's not like a mustardy potato salad. I never had potato salad like this before. If you see, the potato salad actually has little pieces of hard-boiled egg in it. I've never had something like the potato salad. This is delicious.
This birch beer tastes almost like a wintergreen. It is amazing.
Yeah, good choice. You can get regular sodas, but why not get something from a local area? And you don't always see white birch, so I agree. Yeah. So this wall, as we can see, these bricks here actually came from all around the world when they were rebuilding this wall. Oh, the sign. See the no ketchup? Louis' Lunch t-shirts and merch available. Actually, have photos of them actually moving. This picture you actually can see where it used to be located, and then once it's moved to the location it's standing today. See that light above the door? It's still hanging outside till this day. There it is. World's first hamburger. You can see on toasted bread, has a little cheese. We have some onion and tomato. All come medium rare. Yeah, that is delicious. They said there's 5 different cuts of the meat. You taste the beef. It's good. The burger's juicy. Tomatoes crisp. Onion's good. It's different having it on bread than a bun, but I like it because you taste more of the meat and not just bread. So I definitely would get another one of these or another 10 of these. I'm gonna eat this one though right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Good cross section. You see the nice juicy meat. You see the onion above it and that tomato. Joy's first bite of the world's first hamburger here at Louis Lunch.
I do agree with it being on the bread, so this way you can taste everything else along with it. The burger itself is good. Cooked to how I like it.
Yeah, definitely doesn't need ketchup or mustard or any condiments. It would take away from the flavor of that meat.
It would.
It is so tasty. Worth our drive here. Definitely gonna make that drive again for it as well.
I think so.
Yeah. And you can still see that old light that we were looking at from that photo. We talk about all those bricks. See more bricks right along this wall up till we get to the cement divider. When they rebuilt it, collection of old bricks. That was a tasty burger, I have to say. I was getting ready to say I didn't know how it was going to be. We never ate here before. And I was going to say it is the first burger, but it might not have been a good burger because first doesn't always mean the best. But it was a delicious burger. Made us happy.
Nice and juicy.
Yeah. I wanted to show you some of the prep of the burgers being made. Yeah, like I was saying, it was really good. That made it have a decent amount of crowd, meaning I couldn't really show the kitchen area really too much because there was lines and lines and lines of people trying to get these burgers. As we left, there was lines still out the door.
Gosh.
I mean, there's not that much to really show you. Like, there's a guy that cuts an onion, cuts a tomato, puts the bread in the toaster, which is cool. It's an old toaster. I like it. Puts the meat in the little cast iron, which I like also as well. They shaped the patties in the basement, so we couldn't see that. But you got to see the world's first hamburger, where it was made, learn a little bit of history. So I think we could call it
I think so.
Louis Lunch here in New Haven, Connecticut. Been there, done that. Remember, folks, safe travels.
Good eats.
And live life. Yes, I know this isn't hamburger related or has anything to do about Louis Lunch, but a block away is this awesome mural. And we just had to show it with you because we like art. And this is awesome. You see the woman probably wearing some earrings that would be on for stretched ears, a bunch of piercings, cool henna. I love the shoes on the power line to the right. This mural is amazing.